The Romanian deadlift is one of my staple exercises for any sort of bike sport really, because it's so good for building a really strong posture by strengthening your back, your bum, your hamstrings and all that good stuff. So this is like your entry into deadlifting basically. Even if you've deadlifted before, I get all my guys doing RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, before we then start hitting the big heavy deadlifts, okay? Because it helps to protect you, and if you can RDL then you can deadlift. If you can deadlift doesn't mean you can RDL, it doesn't go both ways. So the first thing you need to remember is that these movements are different to squats. They're what we would call a hinge, okay? Where you hinge at the hips with minimal knee bend. I'm just going to show you a few reps without any weight and show you that hinging motion at the hips. Okay, so hopefully you can see there each time that my back stays really flat whilst I do that. Okay, I've got that bracing going on. Hopefully you've done your bracing homework. So I'm nicely braced through here, which keeps a real flat back position. What I do is I don't bend forward, instead I push my bum back, okay, and just allow a very slight bend in the knees. And what happens is I then get lots of tension on my hamstring and bum, so at the back of my legs basically. I'm just going to show you again. Critical thing there is to get the hang of that pushing your bum back, okay? That's the bit that people really struggle with. Literally move your bum back, and then that just lets your chest come down whilst keeping a flat back position. Right, go and practice that now. Go in front of a mirror or video yourself and see if you can make that same shape that I did, where your bum moves back behind your heels, there's a slight bend in the knee, and you've got a nice flat. And remember to keep yourself braced the whole time. Hopefully you got the hang of that hinging motion there, where you push your bum back, okay? And when you did that correctly, you should have felt a load of tension at the back of your thighs, okay, up your hamstring and also your bum. Now, before we go and start doing it with the barbell, which I've got back here, what we need to do is just apply a little bit more tension so that you can do the lift safely. Because this is one of those ones where people see it and think, oh, it must be bad for your back. Well, it's only bad for your back if you do it wrong, okay? So if you use these techniques, and brace properly, then it's totally safe, and you should be able to shift a decent bit of weight with good form. So, tension. What I want you to think about now is we're just going to stand with a slight bend in the knees, and imagine you're going to screw your feet into the floor, okay? Now, as I screw, so my right foot is going to go clockwise, my left foot is going to go anti-clockwise, so the toes are both pushing outwards, okay? Now, I'm just screwing them in enough that you'll see my knee will move a little bit and you'll feel the tension in your bum, okay? Not enough that your foot actually moves. So now I'm relaxed, now I'm going to screw in and relax. Screw into the floor, relax. And one more time, screw in, you can see it creates a bit of tension here, but mostly you can really feel my bum muscles come on nice and tight and relax. The other thing that does is it keeps your knees nice and safe by helping keep your knee over your foot whilst you train. So, next thing now is to practice creating a little bit of tension like that by screwing into the floor, and then we're going to apply that with the previous step. Screw into the floor, push back, and feel all the tension through here and up. Screw in the floor. So go and have another practice of that now, and then I promise we'll go and grab the bar. So hopefully you've applied that screw it in technique. We're now going to go and grab the bar and we're going to apply everything we've learned, and it's going to look exactly the same from the side, except this is just a 20 kilo barbell. You can use dumbbells, but a barbell is actually easier because it fixes your arms in that one place, and your arms aren't going to wiggle around like they might do with dumbbells. Okay. Okay, with the bar there, you're going to notice a couple of things. Obviously, I screw the feet in the floor, and I can make all the tension. Then you may have also seen, if you're looking carefully, I did the same technique with my arms. Basically, I was trying to bend the bar or snap the bar. So if I was from the side, I did that. And can you see, it just really locks the shoulder into the socket, and it helps to set your upper back position so that your whole back is in a really strong position for lifting the weight. Other things you may have seen, as I came down, my head came down as well, so we're just keeping the neck nice and straight. You see a lot of people RDL like this, okay? And in modern life, we've all got enough neck problems from driving and desks and stuff without giving ourselves more from doing lifting at the gym. So keep your neck nice and straight. Now, this is where it's super important that you're pushing your bum back, okay? Because if you're not pushing your bum back, then all we're doing is bending forward. And if we're just bending forward, then we don't have tension in your hamstring and in your bum, and then that makes your back vulnerable. So if you think about it in this simple way, is that your bum and your stomach protect your back, okay? That's why we do the tension technique when we screw in the floor. That's why we brace, and that all comes together to protect the lower back, okay? It's still working, but it's just protected. So if we push our bum back, then we get all that tension in the bum and in the hamstring, as well as screwing in the floor. And we brace properly, and that means that we're really safe there in that hinged position doing the RDL with the barbell. Now, I'm just going to show you a couple of bad reps, because this is stuff I see all the time when people are first learning, and then I try to do my best to correct it as I coach them. But obviously, you're doing this yourself using a mirror or your video, so I'll just show you a couple of bad ones. So we had a few classic mistakes going on there. The first one, I'm basically just bending over. I didn't push my bum back, and I could feel very little on my hamstring and my bum, and so I'm just literally just letting the weight go forward, and then my back's really vulnerable, especially if you've got back problems or it's not very strong. You then will have seen a couple of reps where I let my back round, okay, instead of keeping it nice and flat. And then the last one is what I just talked about, head up, okay? So, with those in mind, I'm going to show you another couple of really tight reps, and I want you to go away and practice with just the bar, and then the next step after the bar is put some weights on. I like to always do RDLs out of a rack, especially when you're first learning, that way, so you don't have to then deadlift it off the floor first, okay? You can just pull it out of the rack, hit your reps for the RDL, and then crack on. This exercise is all about just taking your time, getting it perfect, a real steady lower, pause at the bottom, and then come back up, okay? It's not about the biggest weights, we're not trying to move it fast, we just want to build that strength and that control in the hinge. So, take your time with it. If in doubt, video yourself. If in doubt, use a mirror, okay, and make sure you're making the same shapes that I did in this video.